welcome back to my channel. My name is Jeannelle and I'm currently going to grad school to get my teaching credentials. I love making college related content and just lifestyle vlogs, so if you're interested in that, please don't forget to subscribe and like this video. Alright, so in this video, I'll be talking about my student teaching experience and just giving you guys some tips, student teaching in physical education. So quick info, I started my student teaching in January and I ended in the beginning of April. My cooperating teacher worked at 2 different schools, so I was able to work with her at the 2 schools. One school was an elementary school and the other school was a K-8 school. So I was able to student teach at least 10 hours a week. It's not that much because hashtag I gotta work. Most of us know that health and PE programs have been cut throughout the years, but it's slowly coming back. Depending on the state, the city, and the school district, PE is required. In the city where I live now, we have 3 public school districts and all of them are required to have PE. Number 1, ask a lot of questions and just jot down everything. I asked so many questions to my cooperating teacher. I don't know, I asked a lot of questions and I'm so glad she didn't get annoyed. I mean, I don't think she got annoyed, but yeah, I asked about like the salary schedule, professional development, yeah, just useful tips and tricks for each grade level, because if you're a PE teacher, you're teaching multiple grade levels, just questions relating to PE, the career, and all that. And I would always jot down everything in a specific notebook. I would just like jot everything down when it comes to like classroom management and how to handle behavior, and jot everything down in a notebook. Number 2, how important it is to get along with your cooperating teacher. There are so many student teachers who don't get along with their cooperating teacher, and if you immediately have a bad vibe or you just don't click with your cooperating teacher, you should definitely talk to your school supervisor or the school placement coordinator. I am so grateful that I was able to get along with my cooperating teacher. I feel like we have the same teaching style and just similar teaching philosophy. She sets routines and expectations for students so well. Her classroom management in a PE environment is so amazing. So it's just important to get along with your cooperating teacher, because if you don't, then you're gonna have a hard time or you're just not gonna enjoy your time student teaching. Number 3 is start teaching your lesson plans as early as you can. This is for any subject, for any classroom. Start teaching as early as you can. I started doing like just warm-up activities, and I started with the kindergartners, like, you know, just with lower grades, and then I progressed to the upper elementary grades, and it's definitely intimidating at first, but if you start early, you'll be able to feel more comfortable and just feel confident in the classroom. People always say, well, I'm not ready to teach, but I mean, I wasn't either. You basically have to force yourself to start teaching early. Also, if you've been teaching for a while, when you get to your observations, you'll feel more comfortable and confident in the class. Also, another reason why you should start teaching early is because just in case when your cooperating teacher takes paid time off or they have to go to a training, they won't be able to be there, the sub will expect you to know everything and handle everything, basically. And that's what happened to me. I mean, at first I was super nervous to, you know, take over the classroom, but I actually ended up liking it. Like, I ended up liking having a sub there, because most of the time the sub will just let me handle everything, and I felt like I was a legit PE teacher already. The only thing that annoyed me was that, you know, the sub will be there, they'll just be standing around and just watching while I do everything, and they get paid and I don't. It's kind of annoying, but it is what it is. But yeah, start teaching early. Try to go to all of the PE meetings and the training sessions. I've learned so much during these PE meetings and training sessions. I was able to meet other elementary and middle school PE teachers in the school district. I've got to learn like useful activities to do in the class and learn how to tweak certain things depending on the grade level that you're teaching. Try to go to the meetings and training sessions. Try to go to all of them if you can. Number 5, make sure you have a loud and confident teacher voice. The PE environment is just a whole different thing compared to the regular classroom. The gym is an open space, and it's super important that you have that loud teacher voice. I remember there was a sub and her voice was just really low and quiet and not as firm or confident. Students are so smart. They're smart that if they think that you don't know what you're doing, that they're going to take over the classroom, and you don't want that. In a PE environment, you have to have that firm, loud voice. But yeah, that's 5. Make sure you have a loud, confident, firm teacher voice. Okay, number 6 is have transition signals to get the students' attention. The best combo for PE teachers to have is having a whistle and a Bluetooth speakers to play your music. My cooperating teacher uses these tools to get the students' attention, and it worked so well. She blows a whistle and it helps students learn when to stop, when to start or pause during the learning activity. Same with music. Another thing that my cooperating teacher does is she does this like class chant. It's super helpful. I'm definitely going to use or have like a class chant. So class chants are when this teacher says a phrase and then the students has to say the second phrase. For example, my cooperating teacher, she would always yell out, "Hey team," and then the students would have to say, "Hey coach." Yeah, just something like that to grab the students' attention, and again, will help a lot. Number 7, you have to be able to adjust and tweak your lesson plans while you're teaching. So when you're teaching your lesson plans, you're immediately going to notice what works and what doesn't work. For me, when I noticed something that wasn't working, I would have the students pause and I would just like tweak things up and reteach. For example, when I taught the 2nd graders a specific throwing game, I noticed that the students weren't able to score and they were just having a really hard time, and I knew right there and then that I had to change some things up. So I put the targets closer and I had to reteach on how to do an overhand throw and how to do an underhand throw. So I think it's super important that you observe your students while you're doing the lesson plans and just make sure that they're capable of doing the activity without being super challenging. I mean, you want your lessons to be challenging and engaging, but challenging enough that your students can be successful at the same time. Number 8, you gotta have rules, routines, and set those expectations with any classroom, okay? You have to have rules, routines, and expectations, or else the students will eat you up and they will do whatever they want. If you can't control your class, how are you going to teach? You know what I mean? It's important to have those rules, routines, and expectations, and I've learned so much from my cooperating teacher. I'm definitely going to use some of her routines and procedures. She has procedures on like when and where to take your jacket off, when it's appropriate to go to the bathroom, when's the time to go get a drink, how to put the equipments away, and how to line up at the end of class. These are simple procedures, yet so effective when it comes to classroom management. Number 9, think before you speak. This is like a no-brainer thing. For me, I didn't think I would put this in my student teaching tips for PE, but when you're teaching PE, you're teaching multiple grade levels. So you have to be able to think before you speak. For example, I always say, "Hey you guys," and my cooperating teacher, she always says, "Ladies and gents," but you have to be careful nowadays because some of the upper elementary students can get offended. It's just a different generation now, so we have to be really, really careful what we say. So instead, you can just say, "Hey class," or depending on the grade level, you could just say, "Hey 3rd graders, hey 2nd graders, hey 4th graders," I don't know. Another example, I am so used to being around little ones that when you're teaching PE, it can be rough. Okay, there's gonna be some kids who are messing around or just being really rough with each other. And I always say, you know, gentle hands, safe bodies. I'm always saying that with the little kids. But you're not gonna say that to like 5th graders or 4th graders, even like 3rd graders. If you say, "Hey, gentle hands," like to 5th graders or like the upper elementary, they'll look at you like, what are you saying? For the upper elementary students, I would just say, you know, just pause the game and just like, hey, you gotta be aware of your body, watch where you're going, but you're not gonna be like, hey, gentle hands, safe touches. So yeah, think before you speak. The last tip, number 10, is work on your time management skills. PE classes, they go by so fast, like super quick. And I did my hours at 2 different schools. One school, they had a 40-minute gym time. The second school, they had like 25 minutes of gym time. And that makes a huge difference. So it's important that you manage your time. For me, I always had to look at the clock every time. You just have to think like, should you add the warm-up? Should you like shorten the warm-up? Things like that. I remember at the school that only had 25 minutes of gym time, the 3rd grade class came in like 10 minutes late, which meant like we only had 10 minutes to do the game or do the learning activity. And you know, you gotta keep that extra 5 minutes for like cleaning up and lining up. And yeah, it just goes by way too fast. So you just really gotta manage your time. So yeah, that's about it. Those are my 10 tips, my student teaching tips in physical education. I hope you've learned something from this, and if you are planning to become a PE teacher, don't be afraid to email me. I always have my email in the description box. So yeah, that's about it. I'll just talk to you guys later, and don't forget to subscribe and like this video.